Okay, so let's talk about how much protein we actually need per day. So, the recommended daily allowance for protein is normally zero point 0.8 grams per kilo of body weight. So, that doesn't really do much for someone who's an active person. So, if you are someone who plays sports or if you're into fitness, such as weightlifting, crossfitting, things like that, martial arts, you're going to need a higher amount of protein. What was kind of funny is that when you look at a lot of different types of studies out there on protein requirements, there's an overall consensus that does agree that you do need a higher amount than the typical RDA. So, what is the typical amount? Well, there's a lot of different variables that go into all these studies. Robert Morton of the University of Manchester. He's an exercise scientist. He took 49 studies with over 1,800 participants together. Some were were training up to 6 weeks, all the way up to 52 weeks. He compiled all the data, and what he came up with that is that most of us will need roughly 1.62 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. All right. So to break that down into a little bit more of a better understanding is someone who weighs around 150 pounds would probably most likely take in around 110 grams of protein, and someone who weighs 200 pounds would probably take in around 150 grams of protein. So yes, you could use a higher amount of protein. Obviously, if your genetics allowed you to take in more protein, depending on your lifestyle that you live. Also, if you are genetically inclined to synthesize protein more efficiently, and you are a true bodybuilder, please don't call yourself a bodybuilder when you're not a bodybuilder. They live a completely different lifestyle than you. Okay, so eating 2 times your body weight in protein is not ideal for most people. Even bodybuilders who are 200 pounds, you don't often see them eating 400 or 400 excess grams of protein. And with that said, even on anabolics helping you synthesize all that extra protein, it's really sometimes really not all that very necessary. The only time you really see very high amounts of protein is when people are compensating for calories when they're dropping their carbohydrates, and that is a completely different story, which in my opinion is unnecessary. So there is your breakdown on daily protein requirements. If you are an active person, if you are a fitness individual, I would look towards the standard of Robert Morton, exercise scientist out of the University of Manchester in Canada. I think that he did a very good job of compiling all studies on protein to give you a kind of an overall viewpoint on where and how much protein we should be eating that is suffice for active individuals who are engaging in weightlifting activities.